Welcome to Vajavet, where we discuss everything fitness. And for the month of November, we will gonna be exploring a wonderful traditional medicine. Every culture is unique and beautiful. It shows how early people thrive through different eras and changes. One of my favorite highlight is exploring the early practice in medicine because it shows how people view health and also shows how they restore health. And we are so lucky this month because we have Doc Usha who will share with us her knowledge on Ayurveda. If you don't know, Ayurveda is a traditional medicine of India that is growing popular all over the world. Why is that? Well, stay tuned.
Hi, Doc Usha. Hi again.
Hi.
Thank you so much. I was really thankful that you are interested in what VegFet is doing. I think it started with an episode with Doc Rita last August,
Mm-hmm.
and then you showed interest. It's actually the first time that someone messaged me that, hey, I want to be part of your podcast. So, at some point you're like, oh, someone actually wanted to talk with us. So it was really a good feeling that, hey, maybe I'm doing something right because someone actually noticed what we're doing. So thank you so much, Doc Usha.
Thank you. You can call me Usha. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you are doing amazing. I mean, of course, you're beginning, and
Mhm.
but we're all beginning somewhere, so it's good. You're on the right journey, and I saw some of your podcasts, and I've also seen Dr. Rita's, and Dr. Rita and I work very closely, and we're trying to do things together. So thank you. I mean, thank you for doing what you're doing. Keep doing it.
Yeah. And on that time, Doc Rita explained a little about Ayurveda, but at that time, I don't really know anything, and our topic was different. Yeah, so when you said you wanted to join, and then when I read your bio, it says Ayurveda, what it was like, wow, maybe a sign that I should include Ayurveda in my podcast. So, Doc Usha, what is Ayurveda?
Yeah. So Ayurveda is a medicine which comes out of India. It's an ancient medicine practiced probably 5,000-year old medicine. It's a Sanskrit term where Ayur means life and Veda means science of knowledge. So that's how Ayurveda came together, translating it into meaning knowledge of life. Its principle is that there is an imbalance or stress in a person, and we need to bring the person back into a balanced state. So I think of Ayurveda as an energy medicine. It relies on five elements, or we call it the Pancha Mahabhutas, and which are in each one of us and also in nature. So the five elements are basically air, water, fire, space or ether, and earth. So we are all made up of these five elements, and these same five elements are also present outside in nature. And whenever there's an imbalance in us, because
Mhm.
of the in these five elements, then a disease or a disorder comes out. And then the concept of Ayurvedic medicine is to bring us back into a balance. And these five elements actually describe into a body constitution or our energies,
Mhm.
which is what is known as Prakriti, our life forces. And then they are described into three different life forces, which are known as doshas. And that is the primary basis of Ayurvedic medicine. And the goal would be to bring a person into balance by either eliminating these impurities or toxins that accumulate over time, or reducing symptoms, or increasing some form of immunity, reducing stress, and bringing a person back into harmony.
Okay. So from everything that you said, Doc Usha, I am more familiar with the dosha because I've seen it in our Surasa skin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I checked your website some months ago and then I tried that quiz again just to be familiar with the words. And yeah, there was elementals, right? The earth, the fire, and then like the air sign. in there. I
Mhm.
tried that quiz and it was a certain kind of new knowledge for me. And it means that Ayurveda is a bit similar to Chinese traditional medicine.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities. They call it differently, but they're also based on five elements. Yeah, so there's a lot of similarities in between Ayurveda and Chinese medicine in that form. Yes. The only thing I feel, and I could be wrong, is in Ayurvedic medicine, we also come through all the five senses.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not like oral medicine or topical but or skin, but we also look at all the five sensory organs. So we look at nose like aromatherapy, we look at
Mm-hmm.
ear as like sound therapy, mantra therapy, things like that. And then we look at eyes, which is the eye therapy or the color therapy. And then, of course, mouth, which is taste, food is medicine. And then also you can give orally the herbs. And then, of course, topically, the oleation, I mean, the abhyangas, the oil treatments, and all the topical medicine. Also, like Panchakarma, which is like what is very popular nowadays about Ayurveda. A lot of that is done on the skin, like massages with different oils. And then, of course, there's mind, right? The balancing the mind. So the five
Yeah.
sensory organs and the mind. So when treatment is devised or put together for a person, all the five sensory organs and the mind is also taken into
Oh,
account. So
so it goes to the mind and body connection.
yes, the
Yeah.
mind, body, and the consciousness. So all
Okay.
three are taken into account. So mind and the body and consciousness, you can also think of consciousness as an energy, right? So it's all the energy that is around you. So like I said earlier, Ayurveda is all about energy. So the doshas that I was talking about, the vata, the pitta, and the kapha, those are the
Yes.
three delegated categories or the fundamental principle of the mind, body, and behavior, or mind, body, and consciousness. And these three reside, the vata, pitta, and kapha, are five elements are included in these. So vata is usually described as air and ether. Pitta is
Mm-hmm.
described as fire and water, and
Yeah.
kapha is described as earth and water. Right. Those
Oh,
are the broad ways of describing these three categories or doshas in Ayurveda. But
mm-hmm.
you, me, everyone has all the five elements. You, me, all of us will have all the three doshas in different amounts of percentages.
Mm-hmm.
And that dictates our body constitution that we are born with. And anytime when we go away from it,
Mm-hmm.
right, or anytime there's an imbalance in us, then these five elements and the three doshas get disturbed from their state of balance. And when they get disturbed, that state is known as Vikruti, meaning they have moved away from being in the balanced state.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole treatment regimen would then be to bring it back into balance,
Okay.
whatever that balance state is for you or for me or for anyone. Because
Oh,
in Ayurveda, mind and body is considered to be one. Like in Western,
Ah,
we
okay.
don't think of it as one, but in Ayurveda, we consider our mind and the body to be working together and it's one.
yeah, that's very interesting, Dakusha. Dukusha, I've also read in your post that you said that skin is the
Mhm.
mirror of one's physiology. It reflects inner health and disorder. Is this why you are passionate about eczema awareness and then about the doshas?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And that is so right. Yes. I strongly feel that whenever we were talking about all the doshas, all the
Mm-hmm.
elements in the body, right? So, whenever we have an issue internally, I feel that it will eventually show up at the level of our skin.
Mm-hmm.
So, for eczema, for instance, there are symptoms of itchiness and redness, and there is a dry and flaky skin. People with eczema have blisters, then they have crusting, they have scaling, and then because of all these, then they have other aspects as well, like the sleep disturbances, anxiety, and many other things that really come to it. In Ayurveda, we think of it as predominantly a pitta vitiated, aggravated state of pitta. And when pitta is aggravated, it can also aggravate the other elements. So other doshas like vata and kapha also gets aggravated. And then vata aggravation leads to dryness in the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Redness is because of the pitta vitiation, and then when they become oozing and all that is kapha. So it's actually something that is internally gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So in eczema, for example, we don't know what the trigger is, but there are many triggers. could be
Yes.
allergies, could be immune system, could be inflammation in the body. And sometimes these people are very sensitive to diet. So anything that we're eating wrong can also trigger it. I'm passionate about many things that present itself in the skin. I think every disorder or indicate disease can present itself in the skin in some ways or the other, like blisters, like shingles presents, right?
Yes.
So eczema is one place where I work this point, but in future we are also going to work on other indications as well, which show up at the level of the skin.
Okay. When there is an imbalance in our dosha,
Mhm.
one of the approach would be detoxification, right, Doc Usha?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, detox. If it is, suppose there's toxic buildup,
Mhm.
then there is these detoxification or removal of the ama, the removal of the
Yes,
toxin.
Ama. Yes. How is detoxification done in Ayurveda, Doc Usha? How can we remove Ama in our system?
Yeah. So the three base therapeutic approach, which is again panchakarma, is what is a detoxification in Ayurveda. So the three basic things is, I mean, depending on the person, depending on
Yes.
whatever, wherever they are, and whatever is their vitiation in their doshas or constitution. So we could recommend, say, tonification, meaning to grow or expand or to increase their strength if they are weak or fatigue out or something like that, right? Depending on that. It could also be reduction therapy, which is also known as the langhana or known as it is to make them lighter. So
Mhm.
that is just the opposite of the tonification, where you add and then you reduce. And
Mhm.
then there's a third method is known as the palliation therapy, which is known as more as to balance. So these are the three principles on which all the other things decide on, right? So these are some of the ways that panchakarma is done in Ayurveda to remove toxins, basically.
I learned a lot, Doc Usha. I've been writing so many. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, then again, you have to remember that all
Mhm.
these treatments are there, but they're not like they should still be done under the supervision of an Ayurvedic practitioner. And they
Yes.
should also be done after your body constitution has been decided and in conjunction with like diet and other therapies also. They are not done standalone, right? So if you were to go to a panchakarma place, there's a regimen and they do it according to those regimens. And one most important thing is to start with your diet. So they always will put you on a very piece, like a sattvic diet, we call a very simple diet. Most often used is called khichdi, which is just rice and lentils, mung bean, and stuff like that, a nourishing diet. So it is done according to your constitution. So if Svedana is required, or Basti is required, or Nasya is required, will be determined by your Ayurvedic practitioner, and then it will be done. And how many days of Panchakarma would be needed is also something that is determined based on the person's ailment or how chronic it is or what else is working or not working. So it's also can be done with by giving other herbs or not, and where they are at that point and how strong they are. If they're fatigued, we would use very mild therapies because that person is not cannot do these strong panchakarmas. So first you have to build up the nourishment in a person who is very weak, right?
Mhm.
So though they are, these are some different forms of panchakarma therapies done, but they are all decided based on the body constitution of the person. So should be
Yeah.
done under
Yeah.
guidance
Oh,
of an Ayurvedic practitioner.
yes, because it's not easy if you're going on a enema and herbal bath and you have other issues that will not be good with it. Oh,
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So it is, yeah, it's a very complex process. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Never try it. Just doing it by watching YouTube's. Uh,
no, no, no,
no,
no. Should
licensed Ayurvedic practitioner only.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, some therapies can be self done, but
Mm-hmm.
again, they should be recommended and
Mm-hmm.
also taught by Ayurvedic practitioner, like how to do your self massage, self abhyanga, which oil is needed, or which herbal medicated oil is suited for your body type or your body constitution, your energies. And if your fire is high or or your air is high, how do we bring you back to your innate or your prakriti or your balanced state? So all this
Okay.
goes into the thought process,
Yes.
and then starts at your body constitution, your energetics, your all the pancha mahabhutas, or the five elements, your
Mm-hmm.
doshas, what is wrong with you, I mean with the person, what is initiated, and how do we bring it back to balance, and how can we use all these sensory treatments, five sensory organ treatments, and your mind, and how do we bring your mind, body, and your consciousness into balance. So this is a very complex thing, and should always be done under the guidance of a ayurvedic practitioner.
Exactly, Doc Usha. So, Doc Usha, you've already said that Ayurveda is a holistic practice, which include the mind, the body, and the consciousness. So, how do you incorporate them, especially the consciousness part? Because most of us are focused on the mind and body, right? How can we incorporate that in the Ayurvedic practice, Doc, in healing, Doc Usha?
Yeah, a very nice, thoughtful question. So, yeah, we most of us get carried away by thinking of our bodies and then, of course, our mind, but without thinking of the energies around us, the
Yes.
consciousness.
Yes.
It's hard to really benefit out of balancing just the mind and the body. So, the energies that dictate our daily life or long term life or is also something that we should address to so that we can calm the mind and then the mind can calm the body. It's simplistically probably it's much more complicated than that. So I think it's important that we should situate ourselves in places which brings us a sense of calm, a sense of peace, and acceptance of ourselves is very important as well, our weaknesses and our strengths, and so that wisdom would probably been a help in calming and understanding the energies around us, right? So then we can elevate our thoughts through to the point of letting go of certain things in our life and using these energies that we have around us to benefit basically the mind and the body. Right. So if you have a negative energy around you, or if something is negative around us,
Mhm.
or if we are in a situation, then it's better to just practice let go, and then the mind is also then calm.
This is the time where the yoga, the meditation, and the nature part
Mhm.
comes in.
Mhm. Yeah, that's where the mind therapies that we take usually practicing. And also, routine is very important. I didn't even address that today,
Mm.
but having a routine in your life is also good. And in that, like you said, meditation, find your time for meditation, whether it's the morning or the evening. And meditation doesn't mean that you have to sit in a place and have some beautiful music and a beautiful waterfall. We can imagine that also can be done if somebody wants that and they're not in that place. You can imagine that, but otherwise a simple walk in your backyard while you're walking your child to this class school, or just doing your like washing dishes, you can practice mindful meditation by just bringing your focus, the mind, into what you're doing and cutting out those negative energies and thoughts and the noise out could
Mm.
help. And because sometimes we can't avoid being in a place and we have to be there, but we can probably let go, not get attached to those things. Controlling your anger or resentment could also be something that can help. We will always be living in the world we live in.
Mhm.
There will always be something that will trigger an imbalance.
Mhm.
And thinking through it and letting go, whether if it's yoga is something that we can do, or adopting any kind of physical exercise is always a good thing, but again, to your body constitution. All of this that we talked about, this all the five sensory treatments, especially diet, is to manage these energies to suit you, to bring you to harmony. And one of those important things in there is also taking care of consciousness so that we could bring our mind, body, and consciousness into align them and bring them to harmony.
Thank you so much, Doc Usha, because Ayurveda is about balancing energies. And we start with our diet, and then that's where we check on the dosha, and then we'll try the balance the energy. So thank you so much for everything.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And yeah,
Yeah, you have a forum with Doc Rita.
yes, yeah, we will be talking on women's health and addressing some of these kind of issues pretty soon at the end of the month.
All right, you guys.
don't forget to sign up for a free forum on women's health, November 28th and December 5th, Tuesdays, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. PST. You can sign up through surasa.com. I will put a link below. It's surely gonna be a very informative lunch break for you guys because Doc Usha and Doc Rita are very well versed in Ayurveda and integrative medicine. Both practices that I love and both women that I admire. See you guys. I hope you learned something valuable today and continue to support VeggieFit. Because here at VeggieFit, we may not still be fit and still far from being spiritual, but we're working on it every day. Thank you for listening and see you again in our next podcast.